Mercedes won the Belgian Grand Prix. But one lap into the race, the same power unit philosophy that helped create that victory had already left George Russell completely defenseless. His battery stopped charging. His electrical boost disappeared. He reached the top of Eau Rouge with zero usable battery. 3 cars swallowed him on the Kemmel Straight. Lewis Hamilton arrived at Les Combes. Russell was hit, sent into the gravel, and eliminated before the race had truly begun. Then the old controversy returned. A disputed compression ratio interpretation. A possible gain worth as much as 15 horsepower. A system designed around aggressive hybrid performance. And an international governing body that had already called technical experts together because rival manufacturers wanted answers. There is no confirmed finding that Mercedes used an illegal Belgian Grand Prix trick. There is no official penalty proving hidden race data exposed a violation at Spa. But there is a real question Mercedes can no longer avoid. Did the team push its hybrid concept so aggressively that the same philosophy creating its extraordinary speed is now damaging its reliability? Because Russell did not merely lose a race. He exposed the hidden price Mercedes may be paying for its advantage. Subscribe to the channel. The most misleading part of Belgium was the result. Kimi Antonelli won. He started from pole position. He briefly lost the lead to Max Verstappen. Then Charles Leclerc moved ahead through a stop assisted by the virtual safety car. But Antonelli recovered. With 10 laps remaining, he passed Leclerc and took control again. He won by approximately 1.9 seconds. On the surface, Mercedes looked powerful, efficient, controlled, almost untouchable. Antonelli secured his 6th victory of the season. He extended his championship advantage over Russell to 50 points. The team left Spa with another major result. But that victory concealed what had happened to the other Mercedes. Russell began the race near the front. He had an opportunity to score heavily. He was still the closest internal threat to Antonelli. Then the battery stopped charging after the opening corner. Russell later said he was around 30 to 40% down on battery energy. He had a boost problem. The turbo did not recover normally. By the time he reached the top of Eau Rouge, the battery was at 0. Those were not small fluctuations. That was a sudden performance cliff. Under the current power unit regulations, electrical energy represents an enormous part of the total output. The balance between combustion power and electric power is much closer to half and half than it was in earlier eras. That means losing electrical deployment does not remove one small extra boost. It can remove a massive part of the car's acceleration almost immediately. Russell discovered that in the most dangerous possible conditions. Opening lap. Heavy fuel. Cold tires. A tightly compressed field. One of the longest full-throttle sections on the calendar. Cars directly behind him. No time to understand what had gone wrong. The Mercedes remained physically alive. But competitively, Russell was stranded. That distinction is critical. A complete engine failure can sometimes be easier for the field to recognize. The car slows dramatically. The driver moves away from the racing line. Everyone understands that something is wrong. A partial hybrid failure is deceptive. The car still moves quickly. It still sounds active. It still appears to be racing. But it no longer accelerates at the rate everyone expects. The drivers behind close far more rapidly than planned. One moves left. Another moves right. A third prepares for the braking zone. The space vanishes. That was the situation Russell entered. He did not simply lose one position. He was overwhelmed by 3 cars. Then Hamilton arrived. The Ferrari had normal momentum. Russell's Mercedes did not. They reached Les Combes together. Contact followed. Russell went into the gravel. Hamilton received a 5-second penalty for causing the collision. But the penalty addressed only the final touch. It did not explain why Russell had become vulnerable in the first place. The battery did. The missing boost did. The failure to recharge did. The crash began before the cars touched. It began inside the Mercedes power unit. And that is where the story connects with the season-long hybrid controversy. Before the season began, reports claimed Mercedes and Red Bull had identified a possible interpretation inside the new engine rules. The geometric compression ratio had been reduced. The legal limit was 16:1. The measurement was taken under ambient, cold conditions. The controversy centered on what happened once the engine reached operating temperature. Materials expand when heated. Components change slightly. And the effective compression behavior may not remain identical to what was measured when the engine was cold. Reports suggested a design could comply during the official measurement, then produce a greater effective ratio once the power unit was running hot. The possible benefit was estimated at up to 15 additional horsepower. That number immediately attracted attention. 15 horsepower does not guarantee victory. But in Formula One, it can matter enormously. It can improve acceleration. It can support higher straight-line speed. It can help the car recover electrical energy differently. It can influence how aggressively the team manages deployment. And when the field is separated by fractions, 15 horsepower becomes more than a technical curiosity. It becomes a political problem. Rival manufacturers wanted clarity. Ferrari wanted clarity. Honda wanted clarity. Audi wanted clarity. The concern was not simply whether Mercedes had created a clever engine. Formula One rewards clever engineering. The concern was whether every manufacturer was interpreting the same rule in the same way. The international governing body confirmed that technical discussions were taking place. Experts were brought together. The goal was to ensure the regulations were understood and applied consistently. That language was cautious. There was no public declaration that Mercedes had cheated. No confirmed disqualification. No official Belgian Grand Prix investigation proving an illegal system. And that distinction must remain clear. The controversy was real. The final accusation was not proven. But uncertainty can become almost as powerful as a verdict. Especially when one manufacturer begins winning. Mercedes started the season with extraordinary performance. Its power unit quickly became the benchmark. The car was particularly strong in energy harvesting and electrical deployment. It could recover energy effectively under braking. It could release that energy out of slower corners. It could create acceleration that rivals struggled to match. That advantage did not always come from the driver pressing the throttle earlier. Telemetry comparisons showed rival drivers using remarkably similar throttle inputs. The difference appeared after the input. The Mercedes system delivered more. That is why the hybrid controversy remained alive. Rivals were not only looking at maximum speed. They were studying how Mercedes created that speed. How it harvested. How it deployed. How it combined the combustion engine with the battery. How it maintained performance over a lap. How it converted stored energy into acceleration. And whether the controversial compression interpretation supported that entire system. Again, there is no verified proof that Russell's battery failure was caused by the compression ratio dispute. Those are connected storylines, not a confirmed single mechanism. But Belgium made the relationship impossible to ignore. Mercedes had built a car around exceptional hybrid performance. Then one side of that system failed completely on Russell's car. The strength became the weakness. The advantage became the danger. And suddenly, the most important question was not whether Mercedes could produce extraordinary power. It was whether Mercedes could produce that power reliably. That question had already appeared before Spa. Russell lost what looked like a probable victory in Canada after a catastrophic battery failure. He had placed himself in position. The pace was there. The opportunity was there. Then the battery removed the result. Monaco brought another setback. A failed pit stop damaged his race. Then Belgium added a second major energy-related disaster. This was no longer one isolated malfunction. It was part of a pattern. Not the same exact component every time. Not one confirmed design flaw. But repeated examples of Russell losing major opportunities because Mercedes could not complete the job. Canada. Monaco. Belgium. One probable victory lost. One operational failure. One dangerous opening lap retirement. That pattern explains Russell's anger. After Belgium, he said something needed to change. He said the battery simply stopped charging. He said the team did not yet know why. And he said he had become numb to the disappointment. That may be the most revealing statement of all. Anger still contains energy. Numbness suggests something deeper. It suggests the driver has experienced the same pain enough times that surprise has disappeared. He no longer reacts as though failure is impossible. He begins expecting it. That is devastating in a championship fight. Russell entered Belgium already behind Antonelli. Antonelli had built momentum through repeated victories. Russell needed a clean weekend. He needed to reduce the gap. Instead, he scored nothing. Antonelli won. The difference expanded to 50 points. And once again, the championship shifted through a problem Russell could not solve from the cockpit. He cannot recharge the battery manually. He cannot repair the turbo while climbing through Eau Rouge. He cannot rewrite the energy map during the race. He can only feel the loss, report it, and survive the consequences. That is what makes hybrid reliability so psychologically damaging. A driver can understand tire degradation. He can adapt his braking. He can change his line. He can manage understeer. But electrical deployment is largely invisible. The driver presses the accelerator. He expects the system to respond. When it does not, the car changes immediately. That uncertainty destroys trust. The next time Russell approaches a long straight, he will monitor the power. The next time the battery level looks unusual, he will remember Spa. The next time 3 cars sit behind him, he may ask whether the energy will arrive. Those thoughts may last only a fraction of a second. At Formula 1 speed, a fraction matters. A driver who fully trusts the car commits instinctively. A driver who doubts the power delivery begins checking, listening, waiting, questioning. That can cost time even when the system is working. This is why reliability is not separate from performance. Reliability creates confidence. Confidence creates commitment. Commitment creates speed. A powerful car that the driver cannot trust is not truly complete. Toto Wolff had already defended Mercedes' philosophy before Belgium. His position was clear. He preferred a car with exceptional performance that could be reduced slightly while reliability problems were corrected, rather than a slow car with no competitive potential. That argument makes sense. Mercedes had won 7 of the first 9 rounds. Wolff even suggested the team might have won all 9 without the failures. From an engineering perspective, this is a rational approach. Find the performance first. Then remove the weaknesses. A slow but reliable car finishes. A fast but imperfect car can be developed into a champion. But that philosophy has a human cost. The engineers see a development curve. Russell sees missing points. The engineers see a powerful system with correctable weaknesses. Russell sees Canada disappearing. Then Monaco. Then Belgium. The engineers can say the car is fast enough to win. Russell can answer that speed means nothing when the battery reaches 0. Both perspectives are true. That is where tension begins. Mercedes may believe the aggressive approach is justified because Antonelli continues winning. Russell may believe the same approach is destroying his championship. One side of the garage experiences the reward. The other experiences the risk. That creates an uncomfortable internal contrast. Antonelli takes pole. Antonelli wins. Antonelli extends the championship lead. Russell suffers another failure. Russell receives no points. Russell falls further behind. There is no evidence Mercedes deliberately gave Antonelli safer equipment. There is no proof the team intentionally exposed Russell to greater risk. But repeated unequal outcomes can still damage trust. A driver does not experience reliability statistically. He experiences it personally. The failure happens in his car. The 0 appears beside his name. The championship gap grows against him. The team may explain that both cars use the same philosophy. That does not return the points. This is why the supposed hybrid trick matters beyond legality. Even if the compression interpretation is completely legal, Mercedes still has to prove the performance philosophy is sustainable. A clever system is valuable only if it survives. A 15 horsepower possibility may sound impressive. A battery at 0% sounds catastrophic. The team may have found performance in the most advanced areas of the power unit. It may also have created a package operating close to its limits. That is not confirmed as the direct cause of Russell's failure. But it is the question rivals will ask. How aggressively is Mercedes using the system? How hard is it pushing the battery? How much energy is being harvested and released? How narrow is the safe operating window? Is the team's advantage coming with a reliability cost? And could the pressure to maintain that advantage be making the failures harder to eliminate? Those questions will continue because Mercedes has not released a complete public diagnosis of Russell's Belgian problem. The team knew the battery stopped charging. It knew the boost disappeared. It knew Russell reached the top of Eau Rouge with no available battery. It knew the situation was dangerous. But the complete root cause remained uncertain in the information available. That uncertainty is critical. A known hardware failure can be replaced. A known software error can be corrected. A known calibration problem can be changed. An unexplained failure can return. And if it can return, Mercedes must decide how much performance it is willing to sacrifice to prevent it. That is the hidden battle after Belgium. Not simply legal versus illegal. Not merely Mercedes versus the international governing body. Performance versus reliability. Aggression versus protection. Maximum deployment versus guaranteed deployment. Wolff's philosophy says Mercedes can reduce performance slightly after finding the limit. Russell's retirement suggests the team may now need to do exactly that.